Hey everybody, Jessica here with day 26 of my 100-day meditation journey. And I felt a little off the last few days with the meditations and these videos. I can't explain why. It hasn't felt, I felt like I was trying to think of what to say. And the experience of that really energetic, enlightened meditation that I had on that walk, it's kind of it feels like I've lost that. When in actuality, I haven't lost anything. It's just often when you reach a new place, or when you move into a new space that you've never been into, often we can get scared, our ego can get scared and try to recreate the old, because even though it may not be the best, it's safe and it's comfortable, so we kind of revert back. So I haven't lost anything, it just kind of feels that way. And I'm attempting to not try to recreate that experience from that walk and that meditation, because that's my new expanded level. And if I try to recreate that, then I'm not going anywhere. I'm not expanding anymore. I'm just trying to recreate something from the past. So my goal is to continue in the same, continuing to sit, continuing to allow until I expand again, and the experience will be different. So I'm not trying to do the same all the time. So I'm going to attempt to be even more heart-centered on these videos, because instead of trying to think of what to tell you that will be beneficial, I'm just going to see what comes through rather than trying to think of it. Because if I'm trying to say the right thing, it means that I'm trying to get something, that there's a wrong thing to say, and there isn't. So I had a lot of clarity in the last 24 hours, I guess, over my issue of the distraction. So you may or may not have noticed, if you're keeping track of these videos, you may have noticed that in yesterday's video I said I was going to create this file on my business page to keep track of my distractions, as some way to be accountable for the time that I spend in my distractions. And you may have noticed that did not happen. And that's because yesterday, as I went about my day, I realized that was not doing it for me. That the distractions were still happening, and it was not the kind of accountability that was helping me become more present. And immediately my mind wanted to work on that again. Okay, that's not working, so what else is going to work? What else can I do to fix this problem? But that's how the mind approaches our problems. It wants to fix, it wants to get rid of, it wants to problem solve, it wants to get in there and get going. When if we just allow, these things will go away of their own volition, on their own. So instead of trying to fix, my purpose now is to allow. And what does that mean? It means I'm not going to be in argument with what is anymore. I do distracting things, and I'm just going to let that be what it is and stop arguing with it. And instead of trying to fight it or get rid of that, I'm going to try to focus my energy on what I want to create, which is more connection to myself, to those around me, and to the world around me. And so I will use every opportunity possible throughout the day to ask myself the question, how can I connect more in this moment? And if in some moment I choose a distracting behavior, Netflix, games, Facebook, if I ever go back to Facebook, then I'm going to just allow that and observe any thoughts and feelings that come up when I make that decision, and the thoughts and feelings that come up as I'm engaging in the distracting behavior, rather than continuing to judge and critique myself for that. My intent is that by focusing on how I can connect more, I will be focusing elsewhere, not on the distractions, but on where I want to go. And the distractions will just fall away, because the distractions are not who I am. They're just an experience I'm having right now. But every time I talk about them and talk about them as a problem and something I need to get rid of, I'm picking it up again and saying, I have to let this go. But it's not a part of me. But if I keep talking about it and keep bringing it up, I'm just picking it up. So, and then saying I have to let go of it. But if I don't pick it up in the first place, if I don't focus on it as a problem to fix, but just allow myself to move in the ways I'm feeling called to move, maybe there's a reason behind all this. Maybe there's a lesson I'm learning that I haven't quite got there yet that will be very important for me down the road with my business, with my life, all of the above, whatever. So the more that I can allow, the better this is all going to be, the more easy and in the flow I will be. And my guess is the better that I can allow, the quicker it will just fall away. I mean, that's really how a lot of my problems have disappeared so far, is they just left because I stopped focusing on them. What's the line I've heard is, what you focus on is what you focus on. What you're focused on is what you focus. It means where your attention goes, your energy goes. So you're just giving what you don't want more energy. I've talked about this a lot a lot of us are having problems with what's going on in the world, with politics, with violence, and all of that stuff. But we immerse ourselves in it. We watch it on the news. We read about it on Facebook and our friends post. We get in arguments about it. We even preach to the choir about it. We'll get in a room full of people we all agree with and argue. Yeah, this shouldn't happen, and this and that. Yeah, you're right. And those people over there, they're that. And then our energy is just completely in that space of what we say we don't want. So whenever I get involved in those conversations, I try to ask the question, okay, we're very clear then on what it is we don't want. What is it we want? And how can we make decisions and take actions based on what we do want? Because that energy can't come in until we give it space. But if all your energy is in what you don't want, there's no space for what you do want to come in. So I'm going to be the space for what I do want to come in. And I'm going to do that by allowing whatever comes up. And stop being in argument with what is. Stop picking it up. And just let it be. And if I play games for 6 hours straight, I guess that's what happens someday. But the more I argue with that, the more I punish myself or try to beat myself up for that, the more that's just going to be stuck to me. So what are those things that you have in your life that you keep picking up? Those things you keep talking about, those things you keep bringing up, the things you keep trying to fix. This also works for health. We continue to have sicknesses, colds and flus or ailments, physical issues with our knees or our shoulders or whatever. And we continue to just put all of our energy there on this is a problem and I have to fix it. It's giving your brain something to do, which it loves to do. So what would it be like to put your energy somewhere else, to put your brain to work on something you want to create rather than something you have to get rid of? And when an issue comes up, I talked about this with somebody today, when a pain comes up or a symptom comes up, instead of fighting it and trying to get rid of it immediately, what if you just felt it? What if you just sat there and let it be what it needed to be? I had that come up in my meditation today. I had a new physical sensation that, quite frankly, it wasn't painful, but it was scary. And I thought, what is that? And immediately I wanted to, it was in my neck, and I wanted to start rubbing my neck, or I wanted to stretch my neck, right? Trying to get rid of it rather than just letting it do what it needed to do. And it did things. I felt it kind of wrap up into my head and work in my face and spread on the other side of my neck. And for the first few minutes there, I was scared. So I was just like, all right, I'll hold that too. I'll be scared and have this weird new sensation. And by the end of it, I was still having the sensation a little bit, but the fear had gone away, and then the symptom went away. Now, if I'd tried to continue to rub it, I might have prevented what the body was trying to do to heal itself. Or, I'm adding to the problem, recreating. So instead, just sit there and be with it. So what are those things in your life that you've been trying to get rid of or to stop? And you keep trying all these different things to stop it or make it go away. And what would it be like to just let it be, to allow it, to even love it? I know some of you just went, what? I don't love this pain. I don't love this problem that I have. But if you can accept something and love something, it will just disappear. I can talk more about that later, but this video is getting a little long. But when you can love that it's there, not that you want to keep it or hang on to it or you wish everybody had it, but just love that it's in your experience and let it do what it needs to do, and let it move on, rather than grabbing a hold of it and say, look at this bad thing I have to get rid of. I don't like it and I want it to go away. Just love it. Love your feelings, love your experiences, be curious, be playful with it. Let the emotions come and then let them go. It's all about loving yourself, loving the experience of it all. So, day 26, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 27.